Hey, Senator Martwick, and I'm here with my next installment on a series of whiteboard videos I'm doing about pensions. Pensions has been a big problem in Illinois for decades. 2025 might be the year that we actually make some significant progress on this. And if you watch the first video I did, you find out that one of the big problems in pensions is debt. And in Illinois, if you read news articles about pensions, it almost exclusively talks about the debt. And the debt is a big problem, and it's a problem that we have to solve. I don't want us to ignore that. But when we talk about what are pensions, pensions are not debt. Pensions are a problem because debt's been created. But pensions are retirement savings and security for our most valued public sector employees. Why is that important? Well, if you watch my last video, one of the things you'll note is that we have almost a complete inability to properly staff up the most important government services that we offer. Teachers, police officers, frontline government workers like DCFS caseworkers that have to deal with children in terrible situations, heart-wrenching situations, mental health workers, public health workers, so many people that are working in our government that provide services that we need, we can't hire. And many people believe a part of this is that because of the debts that we created, one of the ways that we tried to solve it was we just said, well, every new employee going forward from 2011 gets a dramatically lower pension benefit. So let's talk about this. Private sector versus public sector, what do we have? Well, if you're in the private sector, you know that by and large, what you're going to deal with for your retirement is Social Security plus a 401k. This is kind of like the model, right? So Social Security is not meant to replace your income. It gives you a little bit of a base income that you get every year. And of course, with all the discussion in the federal government, who knows how long that will last. 401k is a savings plan. You get to save money pre-tax. You grow the interest on it over time, and then you take it out and you get tax when you take it out. But these 401ks, it's a savings plan. So how much do you get when you retire? Well, how much did you save? How'd the market do? It's kind of an open question. You don't really know. You kind of plan for it. You save as you go. But what is the problem in the private sector? Well, the problem in the private sector is, as I said, no one can really afford to live on Social Security alone. But functionally, most Americans approaching retirement age have zero saved up. Almost nothing, maybe $25,000 or something like that, which won't last more than, a year at most. So this is a real problem because these people in the private sector approaching retirement age are not going to have enough to sustain themselves, which means severe cuts to their lifestyle. When that happens, that means they become a burden on future governments because they need government services to get by. They become a burden on our economy because a good chunk of our economy is generated by retirees spending retirement savings. You can't spend retirement savings if you don't have any retirement savings. So the private sector model has been a failure. In the public sector, we do something a little bit different. And we had for years, right? In the public sector, we had pensions. Oh, sure, there were other vehicles which you could do 401k style savings, but by and large, your pension was the benefit that you would retire on. And the way pensions worked were different. Remember I told you 401ks, save up your money and see what you get? Pensions were different. You paid in a monthly amount and you were guaranteed a monthly stipend. You don't get to pass it on to your kids. When you die, it's gone. You might have survivor benefits for your wife. But pensions, you paid in a certain amount and you got that amount every month and until you died, right? Now, if you watch my first video, I told you when we created all this debt, the way that we decided to solve it was we decided to lower the level of benefits that people got. And when we did that, something happened. And I'm not surprised that it happened, but we found that we couldn't recruit and retain those valued public sector employees, police officers, teachers, like I said. So you've got a pension system where now what we've done is we've said where pensions used to be kind of equal to what you would save in Social Security and 401k, now it's just equal to what you would get in Social Security, which means that most public sector employees would not be able to retire on just a pension alone, and they have to save their own money. Well, this loss in benefit level has really affected recruitment retention. And so as we go forward in 2025, we're trying to solve a bunch of questions. One is, how do we solve that debt? That's always underlining everything we do. But second is, what is the right level of benefits so we have a quality pool of applicants for police officer so that we can get qualified people serving us and not scraping the bottom of the barrel. Same thing with teachers. How do we get the best teachers applying for the job? And most importantly, with the good police officers and the good teachers wanting to stay in the job. That's a real problem. We get this 5 years and they leave the profession and we're left without them. So these are the subjects that we'll be talking about in greater depth. There's a ton of ideas for this, but what we're trying to do is get to this solution. Again, I'll be talking about this in more depth, but this is just sort of a primer on what pensions are. Remember, debt, yes, they've created debt, and yes, that debt is a burden, and yes, we need to solve that burden. But everyone needs to retire with dignity. And the attraction for a public sector job, doing very difficult work, ask a police officer, ask a teacher, thank them for the work that they do, their tough jobs, was retirement security, and we've kind of eliminated that. So how do we get back to that and strike that balance? So this is what we'll be talking about in this series. Happy to hear from you and happy to answer more questions. Please like and follow for more. My name is State Senator Rob Martwick, and I'm happy to talk to you about my